what are the responsibilities of a white rapper? And we're gonna get it from 3 black guys. Like, what do you expect? Like, what is like a requirement? Like, what do you need to like? Because I'll tell you right now, as a white rapper, the only thing I ever wanted, but also because of how I started rapping and those, the behavior schools, and I was the only white kid, all I ever wanted was to be accepted. So the only thing that allowed me to be accepted was that I got really good at battle rapping, right? So even if that's not your backstory, I know what the feeling is, and I think it's for everybody. You just want to be accepted for your music, no matter what your skin color is, right? So I believe that people want to be accepted. As a white rapper, it means about 10 times more when a black kid is like, yeah, you good, because it's like a cosign. He ain't lying. It always was. Like when the black kids were like, yeah, like that was it, right? And I know it's weird as that may sound, but I think you guys know that. Okay. Yeah. But every white kid in America who probably watches this channel is like, tell me, let them talk. Let them say what is it? What will make the black kids accept me when I'm rapping?
I would argue that that's a white person thing for almost all white people. Even like racist white people, if they were like accepted positively by a room full of enthusiastic black people, they'd be like, oh my god, they feel amazing. Like
you feel accepted when you're accepted by anybody.
So much weight in this country and it's not acknowledged at all. That's what everyone wants to understand, their preferences. Like, what do they think is cool?
Right, and that's what I want. And that's what we're doing in this video. Because I want to know what makes, when you hear a white rapper, what do you expect? What makes them stand out? What makes them like, oh, I want to know this, right? And I think it also depends on how open-minded you are. Because a lot of people have all these biases already in place for a lot of things, beforehand. And me personally, when somebody white starts rapping, it's really stopped happening a lot more recently because people like me have provided the tools for people to get good. But prior to me existing, honestly, I just expected a white guy to suck. Do you guys just expect white guys to suck?
Not necessarily.
If they've made it onto my radar, I think that means that they've gotten a certain
not that.
wave.
Not that. In person. Okay, feel like this. If they made it onto your radar, that's what I'm saying. That's the only music I look at, right?
Yeah.
Is if they make it onto my radar, I listen because that's significant enough for me to pay attention to it because they've made it to a part of a wave crest where I'm like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, cool, let me hear how they did this. Okay, and then it moves from there and I learn from that.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about white rappers, if you hear one, for example, if he has 3,000 followers and he said, hey man, check my song out, what do you think?
Okay. When rappers like approach me, like white or black, especially if a white rapper approach me, I'm gonna look at his drip. Like,
you're looking at his drip before you think if he can rap?
First things first.
May I remind you that Homeless Man rapped his ass off?
I get it.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I get it, but the drip is not. But the drip not gonna make or break it for me. I'm looking and be like, all right, okay, let me hear your song.
We're talking about what makes them. Do you guys expect them to be good or not?
I don't expect anything.
I was gonna say like just
I don't expect anything.
Personality and sense of humor because a lot of white rappers like they have to have some sort of sense of humor in their raps in order to have like an appeal. They can't just be trying to act hard.
Factual.
Unless they actually hard though.
As authentic. But
some of them actually might be hard, but still.
So like they have like a natural funny guy like personality and funny guy sense of humor, or even just like a lighthearted personality. It's almost like I'm gonna think that they can create lyrics that are actually going to like make people smile and make people want to like them. You know what I mean?
Think about what he's saying though. He's saying as a white guy, you have to be more yourself.
Yes.
Than a black rapper does. Which is true. Which realistically, if you actually say that, it's true. It's actually really crazy weird because if you think about like a lot of rappers are like I sell brick, I sell da 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 da. Then you think about that, like most of them aren't, but they get away with it. A white guy's doing it, you're like shut the f up. You know what I'm saying? Even if he's doing it.
But that's only if you like. If you don't know, like, that white people sell drugs too.
No,
right? But, yeah.
No, but.
Oh, yeah.
I know what he's saying.
You might have a brick of meth.
We get a lot of songs from smart rappers that have them, and it's white rappers that are talking about selling drugs, and it really just comes across as them trying to emulate, like, black rappers on their songs.
Exactly.
You know, so it comes across as ingenuine. If you were really telling me specifics of your operation as a white rapper in your song, like, where it was believable, you know, then and not using just like stock lines that are cribbed from other people, then like that would be
because then it becomes
different.
More real.
It's
right?
real. It's genuine.
That was such a good point. So far we have drip, and then number two is if you're a white white rapper, you actually have to have some type of because you do. Like it's almost like where you're comical enough where you're making fun of yourself, but also you understand your boundaries and you only talk about things that really make sense for who you are. I'll tell you right now, even in my music, I always say things that are more funny, not because I'm white, because I feel like it makes it more playful. And I think that deep down the playfulness is more acceptable, but it's also not more acceptable because I'm a white rapper, but also more acceptable because everybody wants to be entertained. It used to be, remember the era of where everybody was rapping, it was the tough era. You weren't allowed to rap unless you were tough. Right? Then it happened. Oh, Drake came out. Oh, everybody can be soft. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's
right?
True.
Kid Cudi. Oh, y'all
not paving the way for the soft.
If you're gonna rap and do it in any way at all, you just gotta have some type of toughness to you because rap is urban, rap is street, rap is hood.
That's
okay. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be f***ing rapping.
I agree with that.
Now, think about Logic with gang related.
Yep, you're right.
Okay, like it's the same thing. It's like we know you're gonna get beat up. A girl would fight Logic and win, and I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah, a big girl could take him.
Who? When he has things like this and he makes a song like that to seem like he's affiliated. We had this whole conversation last week.
Yeah.
Okay, then it seems as if he can. And let me also point out this for every white rapper out there. There's a reason why Logic consistently always talks about how he's half black. Feels like he has imposter syndrome.
All right.
He's like, I made it this far as a white rapper. I look this white. I didn't have to live as a black man ever, but I had to let everybody know it's okay for me to rap because, hey guys, I'm half black.
And I went through something really bad to be black but have no one know about it. I understand if that's your experience, but don't expect us to have sympathy for you in that regard.
You don't have to say it once and we know.
Yeah.
You know who else is half black?
J. Cole.
J. Cole, motherfucker.
Come on.
Really?
Drake, yeah.
His mom's
I
white.
know that.
You look how light is so light skinned.
That's why
Because he
Drake's
kind
son is
of,
blonde.
which brings up a point, which probably isn't for this video. It's like there's definitely something to be said about being biracial and having to choose kind of a side to be on the fence.
It depends on how you look too.
Yeah, you're ambiguous. You can flip flop, but Logic's kind of more on the white side, so he had to make it very apparent. Like, yo, I'm biracial. Don't get it twisted. Blah blah blah.
But the thing is, he's not, because he still has no like that part of him that he wants to be and say that is black.
He don't look like it.
It doesn't even matter if he looks like it. He also never experienced it. He has none of that hood. That's that black part, and that's why he keeps saying it. Like he wants to feel like he's hood. He wants to feel like he's hood, but the half is still it's not there.
Yeah.
He didn't have, that's what we're talking about with this.
He never experienced any adversity as a black man.
Yeah.
Because of the color of his skin.
Correct. But let me tell you what he did experience. He experienced the adversity of being a white man in a black man's game, and that's why he also feels so inclined to consistently say it.
I think now if a white guy came up to me and was like, hey, check out my music, we didn't seen so many great white rappers. I don't think that's a thing anymore, because we seen a bunch of white dudes that can
That's
rap.
what I said in the beginning. It was like
You know what I'm saying?
it slowly started to drift away as it became more accessible.
Yeah.
Because people like me have
It's like Jack Harlow. Like Jack Harlow, when I first heard the song, I had no idea he was white, right, Sutton? Because when Sutton let me hear that song, it's like, what's poppin'? I was like, what is this? It was like, ooh,
Whoa.
brand new whip, just hop in. And then I looked at the video, I was like, oh.
Whoa.
I only knew he was white because I saw the name What's Poppin' and I saw his genius, just a picture of the genius, and I'm like, oh, he's white. Right, and then I heard the song later, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I know he's white."
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's undeniable. It's just, it's good.
It's also important to show love for the culture without trying so hard to like fit into it. You know what I mean?
That's a really good.
But
that's a really
definitely
good
show appreciation and respect for people who paved the way for you.
Right.
And you know, like you being outside of like hip hop, you know, culture. Not really so much outside, but like pretty much coming from the outside in. You know, being a white rapper. And showing appreciation for the art and for like the black struggle and stuff, but you don't have to pretend like you're anything that you're not. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of a gray area that you have to like find for yourself as a rapper based on like your story and your abilities. But I would say if you ever once seem like you're trying to be something that you're not, you're talking about selling drugs just to try to pander when you've never sold drugs before in your life, you will instantly lose respect in the hip hop community.
He ain't lying.
You have to know the music, and you have to be like, oh, I'm not just doing this to like, what's called
Cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Rob came up in the street and he started rapping at.
In a gang behavior school.
Yeah.
Getting
But
my ass
how old
whooped.
were you when you started rapping?
12.
if you've been doing it for that long and you just came up in the trenches like that, that's not cultural appropriation.
That's why it's allowed if you actually came from it. That's why I won't accept them if they didn't come from it.
If you've been doing it since you was a kid, then like you true to this. Yeah. But if you just
That's a really good point.
But I think everything boils down to just plain old authenticity.
Yeah.
Like you have to be who you are. Cause like Mac Miller came to the game rapping about smoking, and he's still one of the most revered persons of our white rappers of our generation.
You're correct.
I think it circles back to what you said at the beginning of this conversation, which is, first of all, that as a white rapper, you have to know that you're stepping into a space that is not necessarily yours. So you have
need to make your own.
Yeah, or find your lane, right? Like we brought up Lil Dicky. He knows I'm not gonna add to anything here, but I am funny, and no, like I'm not gonna compete with a black rapper in like the comedy genre. Like what? Who else is doing that? Nobody, right? But like it's the same thing what you just said. Like you can't come into an organization or come into a room and be like, whoa, like everything up. You have to know where you rank in the order of things and then move appropriately with that in mind.
Asher Roth, the reason I don't like him is because he came out and said, somebody said, you sound very similar to Eminem on his older projects. And then he said, which he f***ing does, identical. It's clear that his entire motivation and inspiration was Eminem. I was asked in an interview and he says, yeah, all white rappers sound the same. I said, I hate this man. I'm sorry. What it is that it used to be that you could not rap anyways, whether or not you were street or not. Now you can make your own lane. You can do softer music and do whatever. Yeah. You have to be yourself. That's what the whole conversation is about.
Yeah, I don't think that you have to be like connected to the streets.
Right, like I don't think Jack Harlow is
connected to the
street. The song,
but he understands hip hop. Obviously,
guarantee he will try and he will make that
every white rapper will. Same thing with like Logic with gang related. It's like that's what I'm saying though. Is like don't attempt to say you're part of that if you're not. And that's where you guys were all right. Like be yourself when you're making your music.
But if you are street and you're a white rapper, can't you be yourself and talk about this?
That is a fantastic question. Yeah. This is a whole different video. Let's get into this.
But it's a lot of white people like we acting like these trailer boys. Some of them ain't gangsters.
No, they gangster.
Right. They'll get down like.
But that supports what we were saying. If you're a gangster and it's real, then it's real and it's fine.
It is because you can continue doing it because you're really that, right? Like Lil White, Jelly Roll, for example. These guys, right? Like these guys, Yellow Wolf. Okay, no offense. Like I lived in trailer parks. I'm allowed to say this. Trailer trash. That's what they do.
That's their brand.
That's their brand, right? Okay, I grew up listening to Kid Rock. I love Kid Rock. It's right there. All my favorite albums are right down the damn wall. Kid Rock is one of the right there. You guys like what? Kid Rock? Like yeah, Kid Rock. Bob what's a bob? The bang the bang boogie bump. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's trailer trash music. So like that's that. And when you're from that, like it's like you don't have nothing to lose mentality. You know what I'm saying? So like you are willing to be more like I'm gonna take the risk of all this. Do it. And it becomes more street because the trailer parks are right next to the hoods, and then they intermingle.
If you're gonna be a white rapper and you're gonna be a street white rapper, I think it's like a good perspective. Because it's all about story. Like, if you're going to be a street white rapper, I want to hear about the meth you was flipping. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, and just like any hood rapper, I want to hear that.
But it needs to be. I want to hear it different. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear like the way Eminem did it. Yeah, the way Eminem did it with his mom and the daughters, like a completely different narrative than what you're used to hearing from the projects, from the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Like the trailer trash story, completely different. And I think maybe that's where white people can come in is like just with the story. It's like tell a different story.
Tell your story.
Yeah,
because they've proven you can
the whole thing. What rapper even raps about guns anymore? Me?
People still rap about guns.
White rappers though.
Oh, white rappers.
White rappers.
I don't think there's too many white rappers who are still
Yeah, because the white rappers went soft.
Oh, well, yeah.
The white rappers rapped the soft shit.
That one dude who was faking and was like, I'm not really about that, like white Jesus, Slim Jesus.
Slim Jesus. Yeah, and those you can't know.
Like no, these rappers.
That's an example. Like that's the thing though. Like you guys saying like be yourself, but even the rappers like, is it that why can some rappers who do sell drugs get away with it who are black? Is it just that white rappers who sell drugs just can't rap? None of them are prevalent? No, it's because because people will not because they cannot be accepted by hip hop. Because like selling drugs as a white guy is like, oh, you want to take some of the street money too? Like, I just thought about it. Like if you think about it. No, I don't know. Like, but why is it that white rappers who rap about this stuff, there's none that are actually big? I can't think of a single one.
He said they try to get around the streets.
Right?
Damn. Yeah, we all
like white rappers that like really like talk
that street. If it was a white rapper to come out and be really on some like street Young Jeezy type shit, he'll probably pop.
He would, but he also had to have that background. He'd have to have that street credibility.
It's becoming like more acceptable for people to be themselves, like white rappers to be themselves.
Yeah, as long as you find a way to make it dope.
As long as you find a way to make it dope, because at the end of the day, it's like the black culture in general is very accepting if you dope.
Right.
Yes. If you rock, black people go rock with you. It's like, oh, look at this motherfucker, like some shit I ain't never seen before.
I think that like certain things, like when it comes to like Future and Migos, we listen to that in the way that you would listen to swing music. You know what I'm saying? That's to turn us up.
Good point, bro.
In the club, you know what I'm saying? Like we're not necessarily listening to it to get ideas, but and then the difference in that is maybe the rhythm thing too, because it's like we can actually move to swing music, to Future, to Migos. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to sit still and listen to J. Cole all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference. Wow.
Again, something else I didn't expect to be said. And hopefully it wasn't me having a closed mind, but I'm glad that we had this conversation because it opened my mind even more, because I'm a lot more open-minded now than I was then. I always felt unaccepted, but that was also the time in my life where I wasn't as conscious and as intelligent as I am today, right? So having this conversation for the first time in my life was super insightful, and it's because of things like this. So let's keep watching.
In terms of that point, I guess black hip hop is always looking for the next thing. I've noticed with white hip hop, they always emulate that sound that feeling that they got when they first listened to hip hop.
And that's why a lot of y'all song reviews be getting towed up. Because I'm just being real. I'm just being real because this is like, I don't want to, like, don't send a song where it's just like like some Beastie Boys type. I get that shit all the time, bro. Like it'd be like, I see why Rob don't want to do this. He's like, thanks, Rob. but I try to give him positive feedback all the time and just be like, hey man, you need to update your beats. If you really trying to do this and want to make a career out of it, you have to find a way to take your style over some really dope beats and it's updated and just craft it like that, because maybe it's coming back, but it's a certain way to do that.
Now, like was just mentioned there, a lot of white rappers want to do boom bappy stuff. It's like, oh, I'm hip hop by rapping like this. No, you're underground by rapping like that, okay? Let's get that clear. And number two, it's extremely easy to rap on boom bap beats because you only have to follow the kicks and the drums without having to worry about anything else. So it seems like it's easier because there's not really many melodies behind you. It's typically just a sample. I mean, that's how a lot of music is today, but usually you're choosing the boom bap beats that just sound so outdated. If you want to actually make music and want to be accepted, then you need to make music that's accepted today, music that's trending, having the sound of today, or a sound that is unique to you. You can't sound old. You just can't. It actually makes you look way worse. So make sure that you're choosing the right beats, because it is, and I can't say this enough, an essential part of being accepted as a music artist. Okay, let's keep going.
There's a very specific way.
There's a very specific way to do boom bap.
Boom bap, yeah.
I remember one dude kept submitting. He must have submitted like 6 times in a row, and it was the same thing every time. It's like, bro.
This could go to any rapper, but mainly as white rappers. Don't be afraid of new vibrations, because I know that you get stuck on the same experience that you had when you first entered hip hop. Your Eminems, your '90s stuff, which is good and it's all well. But I think sometimes you get caught up too much of being a white rapper, caught up too much of being an outsider to a culture, that you're afraid to implement some newness into the culture. And I think that could shake up some and really make you pop. Like, even though we don't really consider Post Malone a rapper per se, what he's done mixing that country and that hip hop has changed the game. Yeah. Have you seen like Lil Nas X with the country and hip hop? Yeah. That's something we had not seen. So if you have something new to offer that we had not seen, please bring it. You don't have to be conventional to a standard of hip hop that is now like a relic. Be open, experiment, do some that we haven't seen before.
I thought that it was very interesting, I guess what you said about that, like white rappers are like looking to the past for their cues and stuff, and you could say potentially it's because that was like the heyday of white rap was Eminem, right? Like there hasn't been someone that
impactful. Yeah.
Damn.
Rob Level coming up. We about to go platinum, baby.
2021, baby.
I'll be like, I just brought this baby cash.
There's a lot that you guys take from this. I hope you guys took a lot from this. I sure learned a lot from that conversation yesterday, even thinking about it more today. There's a lot of levels to this. But again, all that matters is that you're gaining a fan base. Be yourself. You don't need to extend anywhere outside of that. Plus, if you get accepted by Black hip hop culture, but you're only accepted because you're making this version of you that's not even really you, well, the moment that they find that out, you lose your credibility and you lose that coastline. So if you're gonna get accepted, you need to do it by being yourself. And then whoever accepts you is who needs to accept you anyways. Why would you want to be accepted for somebody you're not? That makes no sense. So be yourself. You're like, well, I'm not cool enough for blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that's the whole point. And making yourself better, stronger, faster, smarter, cooler. All these things can be attained by educating yourself, making yourself smarter, learning how to make money, learning how to do the branding, learning how to make better music. You build into the person that you want to become. You build into the person that's actually able to be accepted by everybody. You're not going to be accepted at first. You haven't built and earned that yet. You got to work to get accepted. You got to realize that. The sooner you start working, the harder you work, faster you'll be accepted, and the faster this will really be a career. Hit me with a comment what your opinions on this. Hit me with a like. Hope this video helped you out. Hit me with a subscribe too. I'm asking a lot of you, but I gotta ask because this video's on YouTube. Hit me with a subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified every time I release a new video. I'm Rob Level here at the Smart Rapper Office. You just got a little bit smarter. Keep hustling, gang. New video every day. So I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you at the top.
Level. Oh, I would've